Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Welcome to Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community. It's a Friday. We're about to have another fantastic conversation. We are here live at the Mission Fed Credit Union headquarters, where we record in their beautiful studio that they've built. Wonderful corporate sponsor for these incredible conversations we have every Friday. Mission Fed, thank you so much. Always doing amazing things and have been doing things at such a great level for over 60 years here in San Diego. And I'm really, really excited about this episode that we're about to do here today. My name is Charles Parisi, filling in for Drew Schlosberg. Fortunately, I've got Kristen Fogel, who usually co-pilots these Fridays.
I'll try to keep us on track. We'll see how it goes.
Wait, where's Drew?
I don't know. Drew,
He's on vacation.
But the voice you just heard, by the way, is one of our guests here this morning. And the question was, where's Drew? Drew is actually on vacation with his family, celebrating his daughter's 30th birthday. Sammy, happy birthday.
Happy
Good for Drew, but we're left with you.
Yeah, this life is
So
not...
thankfully you have me. That's what the consolation prize is.
That is absolutely
yes.
the upside.
I will clean it all up.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I have messed up your walk in here. Go, do continue.
No, we're going to have some humor on the show because the guest we have here, I do know him, extraordinarily creative. And so we're going to have a few laughs. We're here this morning with an incredible organization called Reading Legacies. And we're here with the founder and the president, Betty Mohlenbrock, who has known Drew a very, very long time. And also board member and collaborator in the amazing things they're doing at Reading Legacies, the one and only Paul Bowers.
Howdy.
Paul, it is so good to see you.
It's been a long time. It's good to see you.
It's been a while. So I'm going to share something. We're going to get into Reading Legacies because it's really
Eventually.
important.
Minute 35 maybe. We'll,
Oh, here we go.
Well,
Somebody's got a stopwatch on
I
this.
mean, you'll see.
But I want to share this.
He's going to be
Kristen.
really frustrated by the end of this.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure what we're going to talk about, but we're going to get something
It's
on
fine.
the tape.
Tell us about how you met.
We're going to get something on tape. We have our associate producer in studio too, Brandon, and he's going to make sure the tape is running and we're recording on tape. But I want to share something about Paul, because Paul and I share something really, really cool together that in some sense is an origin story for this company that's now known as Cloudcast Media.
I love stories. Tell us a story.
Yeah.
So Cloudcast Media, we're in our fifth, this month is actually our fifth anniversary.
It's only been 5 years.
It's only been 5 years.
That's incredible.
So, and we've now done 70 plus shows.
Yeah.
We're operating with this local media concept now. We're rolling out Atlanta, we're rolling out Philadelphia, telling local stories, the stories like we're about to hear, with Betty and Paul about Reading Legacies. But let me go back to the Cloudcast Media origin story. Paul has an amazing, amazing child by the name of Luna. And I had the privilege of working with Luna while she was at a charter high school that I was involved with. And it was an incredible story, doing phenomenal work. But one of the first things we created at this charter school when I became involved was a podcast program run by students. It was the first ever student-run podcast, to my knowledge, certainly in San Diego, probably California, and maybe one of the first in the country. And it was called the Ready, Set, Soar Hour, SET, name of the school, School for Entrepreneurship and Technology. And so let me tell this origin story because Luna, Paul's daughter, who has left San Diego County up in Washington State now, I believe, Luna was one of the co-founding students of the Ready, Set, Soar podcast.
Oh, cool.
And she was beyond talented beyond her years, brilliant in every way, conversation, intellect, thought, critical thinking. She was so good that I remember having to do a little coaching and saying that because we believe in a process and the preparation, and she was so good, she could sit down on the mic, never having done any
She'd
background on a
soared past
guest.
all that, if you will.
And she would have a
Yeah.
phenomenal
See what I
conversation.
did?
I would say,
It's called a pun.
yeah, she
okay.
was incredible.
All right.
She was incredible. She could talk to anyone, anytime, any place about anything. It's a gift. She was that brilliant. Of course, we like to build a process so that it could be replicated year after year.
She wouldn't have done the prep anyway. That's the thing. and she comes by it, legitimately, because you see, I don't have any pad in front of me, so I have to spin off what you supply.
Well, listen,
really kind of
you did a wonderful job. So I want you to know, and I want Luna to know that part of the reason when I decided I wanted to start another company in 2019, my daughter was off to college. I was a little bored. And I said, I'm going to do something with this student podcasting. So from day one, we built something called Schoolcast. So Cloudcast is now in the business of powering up middle school and high school podcast programs, curriculum-based, curriculum called Voice, Visualize, Operationalize, Imagine, Communicate, Execute. It's up and running in San Diego, 2 schools in Atlanta, 2 schools in Philadelphia, growing. And I just want you to know, Paul, father to father, Luna was a big part of that.
Well, thank you.
And, please send her my very, very best.
I think you're doing that right now.
Yeah.
Well, listen, it's part of the origin of Cloudcast, Kristen.
That's very cool.
And
Well,
it
we
goes
can both
back
say
to-
hi to Luna.
Yeah. So Luna, hopefully you're going to be listening to this episode when we produce it in about a week. But thank you so much for being such a catalyst for some of the thinking and the thought process we're using here at Cloudcast to this very, very day. And I hope to hear from you real soon. So thank you for letting me take that moment to talk about how
we're 7 minutes in. Maybe we'll get to Reading
All right,
Legacy.
here we
but,
go with the
it's
time
fine.
again.
I'm keeping it real.
For
if
those
you
of
will.
you at home, there is a lash. I see a lash across the street. And if you hear a crack, they'll probably edit it out.
true. Yeah. But it's here.
I'll just say, ow, when I hear once again about
Excellent.
the time.
Yeah.
But,
Excellent.
we're here to talk about Reading Legacies, I think, Charles, right?
I think we are. But thank you for landing the aircraft, Paul, back on the runway called Spotlight in the Community, because we are here to learn about this incredible organization. And we're blessed to be with the founder.
Thank you.
Betty, thank you so much
pleasure.
for being here. Tell us about how all Reading Legacies, its origin story in 2009, I believe.
Be happy to. Thank you. This organization actually started in a 3rd grade classroom, probably 50 plus years ago when I was teaching 3rd grade, reading specialist, 3rd grade teacher, observing in this classroom in Chicago and then later in a St. Louis school, the difference in the children at the reading level of children that came from homes where reading was something that happened in the home and those where that did not. And it broke my heart. And I left the classroom, raised our family for a few years with reading in the home, doing what I believed, what I had learned in my profession. And then as our family became to the age where I could move back into my profession, I was very disturbed about what was happening nationally in our country with the statistics of children that were not being read to. And in my education, I had learned that it is the single best predictor of a child's future success in reading if they have had a read aloud experience in the home. And so I thought, I have to change this. It was really a heavy burden on my heart. And so my husband and I decided together that we would go and start a nonprofit with the vision for all children to feel the security of caring adults reading with them. Really, the mission is predominantly about the emotional benefit, the value of self-esteem, of time spent with others that care about you. The benefit is they learn to love reading. It's a double benefit with heavy on emotional benefit. I had no idea where to start because of all children, where do you begin? But my husband and I had a separation during Vietnam. He was deployed as a flight surgeon on one of the ships, and our daughter turned 2 while he was gone for 10 months, and she did not know him when he came back. That wasn't unusual in that day and age. There was no email. We had 2 phone calls in 10 months.
Wow.
So I thought, gosh, now there's so much technology. Now this was 35 years ago when I started my nonprofit route, nonprofit journey, and to bring the use technology in a positive way in the military. It's on every ship now. The technology is very available. When I started this 35 years ago, we used VHS. We recorded videos of the parent reading a story and sent the VHS home with a book to the child to keep that connection. Again, giving the child, the focus is on the child, giving the child that feeling of being valued and loved through stories. And so that program grew and grew. We tried a lot of other ways of reaching children by engaging families and community members. But that one, after 20 years, became it's international. The military uses, it's called United Through Reading. That was where it all started. I retired from that, and I flunked retirement. I just wasn't done.
I probably would too, Betty.
You probably would.
I think it's one of the
When you
flunking
have
grades we should welcome.
Pardon me?
I think it's one of the flunking grades we should all welcome.
That's true. Yeah.
Flunking retirement.
Absolutely.
So I came back and started again with the programs that we had tried at the older organization, taking this same concept into correctional facilities, with the separation being a child of an incarcerated parent. That is really the focus of Reading Legacies. That's our predominant outreach now, breaking the cycle of the low literacy, the lack of connection. Children of incarcerated parents are very vulnerable of all sorts of emotional and behavioral problems. And so what we do with volunteers, trained volunteers, we go into the correctional facilities and teach workshops with up to 10 parents, grandparents, older siblings, whatever the relationship is, about how they can do something very positive for their children, and that is reading a story on video. And we send the book and the video home. The interesting thing is so many of these families, not just of incarcerated, experienced families, but really in general, reading aloud is going away. Many of them have not had that experience. Many of them have not even read to their children. So we're really teaching a new habit that we hope will continue in the home. And we work with the families at home as well, supporting them with additional materials, additional support, phone calls, and ways to encourage them to keep reading with their children. That's the main emphasis of what we do. We have other programs, parent education. We also engage seniors in the process to have the intergenerational communication through reading in libraries, retirement centers. And we engage youth in this activity as well as volunteers reading to young children after school. All of it about how to give that wonderful experience to children in the early years, looking up to people that care about them. Children look up to us and copy our behaviors. In my education, I remember the second most important thing, besides reading aloud with children being the single best predictor, was being a reading role model. Let them see you reading something, even if it's the newspaper, which is becoming rather extinct, sadly.
What? Wait, hold on.
Yes.
Oh, what?
Yeah, right. Exactly. I know.
And then the newspaper.
I still read them, Paul.
Yeah.
Every day. Tangible, old school style.
It's old-fashioned, but it's so great.
I can't get them to deliver it before breakfast. Okay. Anyway, Charles, you interrupted Betty. Betty, go ahead.
And that's the newspapers where I met Drew. He was at the Union Tribune of the newspaper and education program, and we incorporated a lot of the newspapers in our classes for the parents at that time. The third most important thing, besides the read aloud, the role modeling, is access to books. So we do encourage the use of libraries. We collaborate a lot with libraries, so because they're such a wonderful resource. So the vision here is that we're changing the paradigm in our country to make it a priority again, to spend time with children, sharing of yourself, reading and listening to them, reading a story, sharing your thoughts, your values, letting kids get to know you. Stories give you that freedom. You don't have to have a pre-planned speech or a message for your children. Let it flow and let that conversation around the story be something that's really about you as well. Children learn from that.
Yeah. I love this so much. Obviously, as the ED of San Diego Writers Inc., but also the parent of a 5-year-old, like we're just reading constantly. And it's actually gotten kind of funny in our house because both my husband and I have a slight technology addiction. So when Declan walks in the room, we'll throw our phone and grab a book real quick, even if that we're faking it. Like that's the message that we want to portray is that, no, mom and dad are actually reading. We weren't scrolling the Facebook. But yeah, I just think it's so important. And we have such an amazing library system, the city library and the county library. I mean, that's one of the things that the pandemic, I think, hopefully did was highlight just
you're
how
absolutely right.
Incredible
Great
it is.
improvements.
Yeah, and big shout out to Patrick Stewart, who's on our board. He's the CEO of the San Diego Public Library Foundation. He invested millions of dollars into ebooks during the pandemic, and I'm just so impressed with our libraries. I love them so much.
They're wonderful.
I want everyone to access them.
Absolutely. So absolutely.
I'm interested because I shared how Paul and I got together and met originally. So how did the two of you get to know each
It's
other?
a wonderful story. Would you like to share?
Well, I got an email through LinkedIn from Betty. And if you haven't figured it out, she's very charismatic. And I'm kind of a reading nerd as well, and we read a lot in our home as our child was coming through, and you obviously saw the benefit of that. But anyway, Betty contacted me, and she had dinner at some event and met a friend of mine, Tommy Gomes, who is the fishmonger. And when I say the fishmonger, I mean capital T, capital F. He will be the first to tell you that he has a show on Outdoor Channel, and he goes around and talks to, the fishing people, to fishers all over the place.
Brilliant.
And Tommy and I have been friends for a very long time. And I knew that he had at one point been incarcerated. And I also knew that he had read to his daughter, that I know, from the payphone in the prison,
amazing.
right? This is a federal pen, right? And he'd get bounced around, and he would go in, and he would get special permission from the warden to actually read and have longer telephone time. So as soon as Betty said, hey, I have this reading organization, and I met Tommy Gomes, like, yeah, okay, I know what's going on. And Betty apparently made the ask, said, would you be willing to appear or do something with the organization? And Tommy, of course, said, well, my buddy Paul Bowers can photograph and video this.
That's the only way he would do it.
Yeah, well, yeah, because he knows they're going to make him look good. And that is the basis of my profession, is I'm a commercial advertising photographer and video producer and director. So I said, sure, and I am yet once again roped into some nonprofit thing where there's no money. But the truth is, I don't care. The truth is, this is an opportunity for me to tell someone's story. And it's a pretty amazing story, and certainly Tommy's is one of redemption. Anyway, moving on, put together a bunch of people. We went down to a library, and we did a pretty long-form video on Tommy's experience in federal lockup, reading to his daughter, keeping that connection well before Reading Legacies was ever around. Now, you can go and see that story. I must say it's.
I was going to say, well, how can we see this?
Well, you can see it and you want to, because it's an epic. This is like amazing technique. You'll look at the lighting, the microphones, all that stuff. I did a fantastic job on it.
Well, Paul, what we'd be happy to do is in the show notes for this episode, we could easily include a link. If you send it to us, we'll put it in the show notes.
Absolutely. Just so you know, it's at readinglegacies.org. It's .org, not
.org. Readinglegacies.org.
Not .com.
Yes. Not .com.
So readinglegacies.org.
Yes.
.org.
You said .org, correct?
Yeah, I think it's .org.
Readinglegacies.org.
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
I think, just to be sure, the Reading Legacies. Anyway, that's how we met. And Betty and I hit it off. We have a lot of connections. It's a small town, right? This is why we're here. Mm-hmm. And I started getting interested in looking at the organization, and I've served on boards, on several different nonprofit boards, and I started to look at this one. This one's worthy. Mm-hmm. This one's special.
Yeah.
This one, very specific in its goals. We're not we're not a literacy organization. We are an organization that promotes reading in the home. And we do it for a very specific reason, because the outcome for those kids is tremendous. The leverage that's offered by reading in the home, and the more people that understand that really get, it's not hard. Just read to your kid, read fun books. That bond, that intimacy that's created is carried on through the rest of their lives. And if you're one of the data people, the data does not lie about this. It is it's an amazing effect. And the truth is, it's good for the heart. This is good heart stuff, right? Our kids like Brandon, are going to, they know how to read. They look at Facebook. They look at TikTok. They look at all these things. They see it. They can read fast. But that's different than the shared experience of reading.
Yeah. Paul, what you're saying is so, so important. And I'm going to share something with you, Betty, that I'm hoping you're going to be happy about. And Paul, I know you're going to be happy about, because so I have a very interesting connection. I love books. I buy books and I keep buying books knowing that I can't even get to them in the next 10 years. That's a deeply personal childhood issue. But I was so blessed to be able to spend time reading to my daughter. And my all-time most memorable book is a book called Wacky Wednesday. So on Tuesday, I had the opportunity to be on the air with Nicole Gates, who's the general counsel at Dr. Seuss Enterprises. And we were talking about books and reading. She's on the verge of having her second child. And I tell every father I can speak to, because sometimes the reading of books at nighttime, it's the moms doing it. And I'm saying to every father, get some of that time.
Yeah.
It's the most special experience you're ever going to have in your life.
Good advice.
Not just get some of that time, Charles, but give some of that time.
That's a really good point.
And, we are in an traditional environment where men are primarily breadwinners. And that was not the way it was in our house. In our house, my wife is our primary breadwinner. And so, again, one of the ways that I could support and encourage her connecting with our daughter is coming home and doing that specific task.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're working for us, and we appreciate it. I got dinner on the table for you, but take a minute, go read to our kids.
It's so important. It's so important. And again, going back to your point, how you create these lifetime habits. My daughter is passionately in love with books, and physical, but as well as going back to technology. Here's what she shared with me, and I think we can do this for every young person around the world. She told me recently, Paul and Betty, that her most prized possession is her Kindle with all of her books.
Oh, interesting.
And young people with their phones and everything.
Yes.
For her, if she lost her
right
Kindle.
there. Yeah.
So going to your point about how do we create these habits and to build relationships, it's so critically important in a million different ways. And that time you can spend it. So I'll tell you, I was not familiar with the Reading Legacies, and I'm blown away right now.
Yeah. No,
That's a really powerful.
It's foundational.
The two of you, what you're working on is really
It
powerful.
Yeah, and it is changing that habit, investing your time, doing it regularly. And I think really the way we do that is in a very respectful way. We are really empowering people, encouraging them, enlightening them. Parents, all parents, unless there's some serious problem, dysfunction of some sort, want the best for their kids. Yeah. But this is like the hidden secret. This is something that we overlook. And so just to start making that a habit and getting that into their lives regularly. And it is so rewarding to the person doing the reading. Our focus, again, is on the child. But as we work with these incarcerated family members, parents, grandparents, etc., the benefit to these individuals to do something for these loved ones that is absolutely life-changing and educational. I mean, they really get excited to participate in their child's education, even though it's in a fun, kind of an entertaining way because it's stories. A lot of people ask us about how do you handle it when they can't read well, because the statistics are that the incarcerated population has a very low reading level. We if they are, and we haven't come across the situation where they can't read at all, but if they are in comfortable reading, we encourage them to tell the story from the illustrations, because a lot of the books are very primary level, and they're reading to younger children, and it's really about comfort, attitude, confidence, and starting something that makes you feel good. It's one of our core values that when you give of yourself, you are learning and gaining. And that's kind of the way we are changing the paradigm by working with others in a way that is not accusational or looking down. This is a hidden secret. This is something really special for your child.
And I hate to say it's easy, but it's easy.
It is easy.
You're not taking your kid to Disneyland. You're not driving somewhere. You're not doing any of that. 10 minutes. 10 minutes reading.
Yeah.
In the Tommy Gomes video, he talks about the bond. Now, this is an individual that spent much of his time at sea on tuna boats and then incarcerated for 10 years. But he went to the extra level to create that bond with his daughter. And one of the fun things, and I don't want to spoil the video, but it is a tremendous video and it's beautifully lit. I got to invite the daughter, Delaney, onto the set during the shoot without Tommy knowing about it. She just popped in.
So emotional.
And when you see what happened between those two, when you see just that instant, that bonding worked. And that's what Tommy was saying. It's the bond. It's a certainly inexpensive thing to do, but nothing more critical, in my opinion, than creating that time with your kids and with others to create that. Now, Betty, you also do story times and some of these other things, correct? Where people can bring their kids to.
Yes. We are located at Liberty Station, downtown, Midtown. And it's such a wonderful location for families gathering, as you know. And so we do have a family, what we call family story hour once a month. There's a darling little bookshop, the Joyride Bookshop.
It's so cute.
Is in one of our office spaces. They sublease from us. They're wonderful, two women that own the shop. And we collaborate and have the story time there. And volunteers, we have young people, and they're, in fact, in some situations, we have a youth and their parent come and do the reading together, kind of illustrating how families can enjoy stories together for the families that are visiting Liberty Station. So we do that. We also have provided family story hours in homeless shelters, delivering books and reading to the families and the children in those locations, giving them the role modeling experience of seeing that reading is such a fun activity to do together. And additionally, with the seniors, we are engaging. We actually have kind of gotten creative with working with seniors in retirement centers where we have Girl Scouts, partnering with the Girl Scouts, and they read books with the seniors and create that conversation. The seniors, in some cases, they participate in the reading as well. But family story hours, intergenerational exchanges of the joy of reading and values and conversation and attention.
So, Charles, I have a question for you.
Because I had a question for you, but you go first, Paul.
Oh, boy.
Okay. Charles, tell us your origin story of reading.
Okay. All right, Paul.
Think back.
No, I don't have to think back. Okay, so, my I think, deep connection to books, which I probably really only thought about for the first time in the last couple of years with a conversation with my daughter. Age 7, I never saw my father again because I came from a very abusive household. My father was not necessarily the best human being in the world. We'll leave it at that. I was born and raised in an Italian neighborhood in South Philly. And my mom picked up and left at age 7 with me and my 2 siblings. And I remember asking my mom, it was summer of '69, and my birthday was in May, and I remember getting books for my birthday. And I remember asking my mom, can I take my books with me? And she said no, because then my dad would know we're not coming back.
My gosh.
I didn't understand what that meant at age 7.
Yeah.
But I think that's when I developed a real passion for books, physical. I buy books. I still buy books
is really
literally
interesting.
all the time. I don't even like people borrowing my books because I'm thinking they're not going to come back.
Yeah.
And my daughter and I kind of piece it together. I'm sure that's the origin of my love of
Yeah,
books.
absolutely.
So
And my
we're
love
about the
of
same
reading.
age. What were you reading?
At age 7, I don't remember. I couldn't.
Okay,
even,
so what's the earliest book?
oh my gosh, I read it. Here's what's interesting. And so, Paul, I'm going to share something with you that I really can't put my finger on, because when we moved to New York from Philly, I was in the 2nd grade, and I only spent a couple of weeks in 2nd grade. They skipped me to 3rd grade because I was reading at a very, very young age.
Naturally.
So obviously, I cannot tell you who read to me at a young age, but I'm sure it was my mom. It wasn't my dad. I don't know if it was in a church setting. I really don't know because my memory is completely gone from who read to me at a young age. I don't know the answer. But I was able to read well because they skipped me into 3rd grade. But I remember
incredible. Wow.
I remember reading newspapers at a young age. In 5th grade, you talk about newspapers and education. Drew and I have spoken about this. I still read the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and a variety of papers every day. In 5th grade, and I grew up ultimately, the New York chapter was interesting because there was a couple of years in welfare hotels. Then we went to a housing project, the projects as they're called, which I loved.
Bed-Stuy.
I was a Queens in a project in Queens, but I loved the projects. But in my 5th grade, my inner city neighborhood, my 5th grade school was 1 block from the projects. But we started every 5th grade class with the New York Times on our desk. That's an 11th grade reading level. So I always tell young people, because I care about reading, is that what are we doing today to lift reading communities around this country? Because I was in your classic broken down, poor neighborhood.
That's incredible.
And we had the New York Times on our desk in the 5th grade. And I still read it to this day, every day. And usually physical. Sometimes I've got to go online if I'm not there because I can't get it delivered. I physically go buy it at Cheers Deli in San Carlos.
Good sandwiches.
And great sandwiches. So, these habits you're talking about are so important to establish them early on. So, Paul, I don't know what I was reading at 5 and 6. I really don't know. And I wasn't able to go buy books after that age because, hey, you're just scraping by in New York City at a very different kind of lifestyle. It was a comfortable life, although abusive in Philly. So now this New York thing is a completely different world. And
it's a fascinating
But now
story.
my daughter loves books. And so these cycles and the habits that can form that you're talking about and these relationships are so important to do it. But I want to ask you something really, because when we start talking about incarceration and social justice issues in this country, you can get me a little riled up because of my background. So, because here's what we know. If you take Tommy Gomes, and I do know who he is. I don't know him personally. And it's the parent that's being sent away. Okay. But you don't need to punish the kid.
You're on.
So can we talk about that for a little bit?
Well, that's why we're doing what we do.
How is the system helping you? Are they helping you facilitate
Yes, they are.
these parent-child
they are.
relationships? Let's talk about how they're doing that.
We've worked with the Sheriff's Department for almost 20 years now because I started this before Reading Legacies at my first organization. And they decided when I retired to stick with military. So that was why I flunked retirement and brought this into Reading Legacies. But they have been, when I started this, it was in the years of when there was it was mostly just correction. It was not the rehabilitation. Then that movement, I have been a part of that. So I started, I guess it was almost 20 years ago, and I've seen so much good change. I really have. I think the San Diego Sheriff's Department, who has been very cooperative with us, has a wonderful reentry department. Now, we're going to be expanding, and the question or the comment that Paul made earlier that he would like for us to share the vision, the big vision, is to take this into other facilities outside of San Diego. So we're starting into the state prison system. We're going to be working at Donovan State Prison, and we're working in a federal facility down in by the border in Otay Mesa. It's called Core Civic. And those systems are also opening the doors for this to happen. And they're really, I think the uniqueness to this is that it does benefit the children. There are a lot of rehabilitative programs that are rebuilding that incarcerated person, that are very important. Education and drug addiction, all of the things that they must improve on. But there's something really special about the core value that I mentioned earlier of giving of yourself, how that benefits you. This is a way for this man or woman to feel really deeply important and valued by doing something really positive for their children. So it is embraced. We are working very closely with the facilities here in town. I mean, I don't know if that's nationally true. We will be learning that as we go forward, but it's really needed and important.
By the way, just to let our listeners know, you're listening to Drew Schlosberg's Spotty, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, doing amazing things for San Diego for over 60 years. Right now, we're having an incredibly important conversation with Betty Mohlenbrock, founder and president of Reading Legacies, and a creative force and board member, Paul Bowers. So, Paul, I could see there was a thought on your mind.
Absolutely. You know, one of the nonprofits with which I'm associated is the National Conflict Resolution Center. I'm trained as a mediator and restorative justice. I understand pipeline to prison and school pipeline to prison in particular. And I've produced a lot of stories on this particular subject. And here's the bottom line on this. And a lot of people say, okay, these are people that have committed crimes against the community. They should be incarcerated. Okay, I'm not going to argue with that. But here's the thing. What do you want to have happen when they come out? And what do you want to have happen to their families? Do you want to continue to support at $130,000 a year to incarcerate someone? Or is your goal to have that person re-enter the community in a bonded way that has the chance that they will not reoffend? Mm-hmm. And for me, that's the goal, is let's get people out of incarceration and into being productive members of society. And that's an old productive member of society. It's an old term, but there's a lot of truth to it. Mm-hmm. And this is one of the ways that can happen, is that keeping that bond between the incarcerated individual and their family. That bond increases the chances of both of those individuals being very successful in the future. And that's what I would certainly like to see.
Yeah. And I would share with you, Paul and Betty, that I could probably make a pound the table case that there is nobody that should be sentenced for, pick your time frame, without a formal family plan in place. All the things we're talking about. Mm-hmm. How is your family going to be taken care of? Whether it's health, education, reading, whatever it may be, let's see this family plan. And now you can go do your time. Because that's going to actually change the mindset of the person that's being incarcerated. So there's so many things that we can do better, but I love what you're doing. And I'm actually encouraged to hear that they're welcoming you into their programs, into the facilities. That's beautiful.
Well, during COVID, we were shut out. Right. Everybody was. But yeah, in general, the program is very, very much embraced.
Yeah, that's great. I love it.
And one thing I would mention, one of our team members, a staff member, part-time, is a woman that participated in our classes at the female jail here in San Diego for a number of months. And we have a class where they can come back 6 different times and receive a certificate and mail a book and a video each time they participate. But she is a beautiful mother who was incarcerated for a long period of time, and she started taking our class. And this has changed her life. It's changed her life with her daughters. She now has custody of her children. She is part of our staff, and really a wonderful spokesperson for us, because she's walked the walk and she's seen how this can change the life of the family. It really is about the children, but the entire family feels closer. The whoever the caregiver is, a wife, a grandmother, a partner, they feel that effort and that participation of the parent that is away, that is incarcerated in the family, and it means a lot to everybody. It's not a panacea. We don't pretend to solve all the problems, We're not the whole family plan, but we're foundational and we're providing seeds of hope.
Well, listen, you solve every big problem by, right? What's the elephant in that example, right? One bite at a time.
Yeah.
So you're doing amazing work here, okay? And I hear this, the aspiration is to go broader, deeper, different types of programs, probably even different states. What are you thinking about? Because you mentioned the paradigm's changing. But if the question is, how are we going to change the paradigm on a national basis? How could you potentially scale this thing and it's all over the world?
Well, the scale will have to begin, as you know, here fairly locally, the state of California. But we are looking, our vision at this time is that similar to how we expanded the military program internationally, and in fact, we were awarded the Peter Drucker Award for innovation, nonprofit innovation, because of the use of that technology to keep the parent engaged, but also the growth internationally with that. And so that's why we have taken it into the correctional facilities. So the way we are doing that is to continue developing the turnkey operation here, perfecting the delivery of the supplies, the training of the volunteers, the engagement, the process with the internal staff in the facilities, and then additionally, replicating ourselves, finding nonprofits in the other communities, service organizations in the other communities as we go outside of San Diego. We are one of the organizations that we're talking to is the Altrusa International organization. They focus on literacy, and they are all over the state of California. In fact, they are national. And to partner with them, volunteers that are trained by us to be the volunteers in the facilities, we would provide the book lists and the access to the additional materials and introduce them into the facility. We would always be the introductory step because we have the reputation and the credentials for opening into correctional facilities, but kind of growing, replicating ourselves here in the state of California and beyond. We also are talking to a church in the Dallas area where there are volunteers that are interested. Faith-based volunteers often are a part of our volunteer base, although we are not a faith-based organization. Right. We are a public benefit. But just having the heart for serving and being there for these individuals that are hurting. They've done something bad, and we're not interested in that. We're interested in their future and the future of their children. But we don't have it fine-tuned, Charles. We're working on it. But the vision, it needs to go national. It needs to go beyond. And we've been doing it long enough now that we really are ready to push ourselves. And we have some good donors that are interested in seeing this go beyond San Diego.
Listen, when I hear it's not fine-tuned yet, I love it because it's a growth mindset. It's what I call the world of organized chaos, which is where everything happens, organized chaos. And obviously Paul's aboard, so we know you're going to be getting some phenomenal ideas, phenomenal energy.
He's incredible.
Well, one of the most important things is getting featured on a prominent podcast. Did you know one?
In fact, it's so funny you mentioned that, Paul, because I love what you're doing so much. It's like I'm literally blown away. And we already do work with literacy. Council on literacy.
Sure.
I'm going to mention something for the first time on air that's never been mentioned.
Oh, dear.
Because Cloudcast is also forming something called Life. Literacy is for everyone.
Okay.
Because I care so deeply about this. It's a personal thing for me, books and reading. And so I love what you're doing so much. So I would actually like to extend invitations to 2 other shows for you as well. We have another show called Live Local, Give Local San Diego, where you have to bring a donor on the show. Because we like to tell the donor story. So, Paul, you would qualify for there as a donor.
Beautiful.
And then, Betty, we have a show called SheEO for powerful women. And we'd love to have you on that show because you are a powerful woman.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And so I want to keep helping in any way we can, Paul, even if it's, our small little way through Cloudcast and Drew's amazing show, Spotlighting the Community, that Kristen's here every week, putting in this time and energy every week. By the way, Kristen does not make any money to be here. She wants to tell stories and elevate.
Well, thank you,
She's doing this as a volunteer.
That's wonderful.
Sometimes I get a muffin from Charles, but not always. Not
what
always.
kind of muffin, though? Tell him what kind of muffin you like.
The zucchini something.
The
or other,
zucchini something.
So, Charles, I know you're trying to wrap up now, but
No.
and it's in my best interest to keep this going, right? I want to know Kristen's origin story on reading.
Okay, let's do it. I love
Because
it.
as a writer, this has got to be fascinating to me. And I'm going to guess Nancy Drew, but tell us.
I wasn't a huge, I mean, I did read some Nancy Drew. I read everything. It's not as fascinating as Charles's story, and I'm not selling myself short, but yeah, I grew up in Los Angeles County.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, I grew up in Culver City, and then
it's
we moved
already
to
a rough
Lancaster,
origin.
Palmdale. So Lancaster, Palmdale was a little
That's even,
rough.
come on, Lancaster, Palmdale, or what is it, Queens? Well, my wife's from
Queens,
Queens.
New York.
It'll be fine.
I don't
Anyway,
know. I might choose Queens, but that's
Just
where I'm at.
just for the food, though, is probably the
That's true. That's true.
Anyway, I'm interrupting. Please.
No, it's fine. My parents always made sure that we had, ample books around. It's kind of funny because I always read on this dog, this stuffed dog that looks a lot like our real dog now. So I'm always
Cute.
like, Fletcher,
There's a connection.
I know it's very strange,
It's
but
very, very deep.
it's I know we're gonna work that out
It's okay.
and talk therapy at some point. I read a lot of. It's funny because my son is obsessed with the Berenstain Bears, and I was obsessed with the Berenstain Bears when I was his age, and I would always have this huge stack. My mom would just leave all of the books there, like I do for Declan now, and I would do the same thing he does. Which when my mom was not around, just flip them open and make up the stories and remember the things and all of that. And he's starting to kind of do the same thing. But I liked Nancy Drew, I liked Boxcar Children, I liked Sweet Valley High, I liked Babysitter's Club. I'm a child of like the 80s and 90s, so this is the era that I was in. Read a lot of classics. R.L. Stine was a big thing, so Goosebumps was my age level, but I was always reading the totally inappropriate teen books when I was in second, third grade.
Wow.
Yeah, so I always read everything I could get my hands on. And these days it's a lot of nonfiction, topical nonfiction. So learning about topics and things that I don't know anything about.
Here's a bit of trivia for you.
Yeah. Oh, dear. Oh, gosh.
Franklin W. Dixon, who was the author of The Hardy Boys, same author as Nancy Drew.
Okay.
Is that right?
And Franklin W. Dixon is a nom de plume. And I don't actually know the author's name, but they were both of those series.
I do kind of remember this, because I know that they were like intrinsically linked, and I can't remember how, and that's probably how. And they they had similar graphic elements.
Very similar graphic, but very, very specific gender roles at the time. But they were the same author. And probably, I bet if you look at them, probably the same plots. But at the time when I was a kid, I wouldn't read Nancy Drew. I was a Hardy Boy guy, right? So I'd be interested to review those and see if they're just the same plots with the names changed.
Yeah,
it's interesting. That's a fascinating insight because you almost wonder if it's the exact same book. It's gender specific.
It's formulaic and it's great. I mean, I enjoyed it, and it kicked off. And for me, then I went from there to the James Bond books, which actually rescued my reading journey because I had given up in high school. I wasn't reading at all, and a friend who was an avid reader and still is. We Zoom all the time now. He lives in Italy, but nevertheless. I started reading James Bond books, and then it was all over. And then it was the Quentin Tarantino movies now, the Bridget Remagen, and all of the Alistair MacLean books, and that hooked me back into reading.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, by the way, Paul, you asked earlier about what was I reading, and I don't remember exactly what I was reading. I remember some of my later books. Probably my all-time favorite book is Crime and Punishment.
Oh, because you're an intellectual, Charles. Come on, how can you get through that stuff?
I read it. I wasn't even. I don't think I was that old when I read it the first time. But that was one of my all-time favorite books, and then of course became topical, and it was business. But I've read so many different things. I think I have about 5 books I'm reading right now. One's on the physics of time. Another one is called Super Communicators. I'm rereading Anti-Fragile from Nassim Taleb.
Wow.
So again, I have so many books around. It's like I know what I'm doing.
So great.
I can't even get to these books. And I always go to Goodwill, by the way.
Yeah.
Because I was a poor kid. I love a deal.
Yeah.
So when I go to Goodwill
Sure.
and I get a phenomenal book for like $5, I'm like so happy. It makes me so happy.
Or the mini libraries around.
Yeah.
The mini ones out
Little
in front
free
of people's-
libraries, yeah.
the little
But I
free
have to
libraries.
return those, Paul.
Oh,
You don't have,
no,
you don't
want-
have to return them.
and you're not a
You
terribly
take a book.
responsible individual.
No,
so-
I want to hold my books. I want to keep my books.
At the little free library, you get to keep your book.
I thought you had to return it back.
No, you just take a book and you leave another book.
But you're missing the point. He's a hoarder.
Oh, my
He's a
goodness.
book hoarder.
Yeah, I was thinking you had to read the book and put it back in the
No,
library.
you don't have to put it back.
Oh, what
You
a new
could.
concept.
The idea
could if
would
you
be that
wanted
you could
to.
take
But
one
another
there
book.
Yes.
Yeah, but nevertheless,
Oh, Charles.
we're all reading.
Yes.
No, I want to hold on to my books, so I buy them and I want to keep them
I love
because
your,
I don't
your
want to be
good-
separated from my books again.
I love your goodwill, and also I want to do a plug for supporting local authors also in our local bookstore. So I think we should be
Absolutely.
should yes
Purchasing.
and buy from everywhere.
Anybody listen to books?
Yes. Yeah.
See, this is my
too.
thing. Because I walk our dog twice a day,
Yeah.
and it's a young dog's got to be walked a lot. And I listen. I just finished The Godfather again.
Oh, my
written by
goodness.
read by Joe Mantegna. It's a
Chicago.
fascinating story.
One of the in fact I read that at a fairly young age too.
Wait, The Godfather?
I read that. Yeah,
That was completely inappropriate. What was it?
Yeah.
100%. I remember where I
That
was.
makes complete and utter sense,
Was it
does
page
it not?
page 31?
I'm
right?
going to tell you
boy.
because that I know for sure. I was in the projects. I moved in the projects in 71. So you can figure out when I read that.
Yeah.
It would have probably been 73, 74. It was after the movie came out. And I remember actually kind of. I don't think I was supposed to be reading it, but I got a hold of it.
There's a couple of trashy things in there. Now, interesting, at the end of this book, there was an afterword by Puzo's son. And he talked about Mario Puzo, and Puzo was trying to make it as a writer, and he was not being successful, and his family was going hungry. And so he just said, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write a bestseller. And everybody laughed, right? I hate to say it, they all laughed.
Yeah.
They all laughed.
You're right.
And he wrote it down, and he kept writing, and he kept writing, and he kept writing, because that was it. It was do or die.
Good for him.
And I mean, now it's a legendary novel.
Yeah.
And he had to fight hard to get on to the screenwriting side of that movie.
Indeed. And he was a screenwriter at various times. And one of the things that fascinated me is that he once said that as a screenwriter, you can become a screenwriter. You're disciplined. You do tremendous story work, but still the lines can be changed by the producer's girlfriend.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
all
true.
right.
Yeah, but incredible. So here's what I would love to do. First of all, Paul Bowers, Betty Mohlenbrock, thank you so much for the incredible work that you're doing
Thank you.
with Reading
Honor.
Legacies.
Oh, this was a blast.
It's readinglegacies.org,
Really fun.
correct, Paul?
It is readinglegacies.org.
And that's spelled O-R-G.
That is ORG, and Reading Legacies you can figure out.
Okay, so it's readinglegacies.org, correct,
got it.
Betty?
Yeah. And look for the
Legacies is
Tommy
plural.
Gomes story. The Tommy Gomes story is a fantastic watch.
Okay, well, that's the segue I was looking for, Paul. Thank you so much. Here's what I would love to do if we could possibly plead with you to do this for us. Will the two of you please come back with Tommy and maybe Delaney?
Ooh.
Oh, that would be very special.
That would be a lot of fun.
Okay,
wouldn't it?
I would love if you would come back with the two of them. And then let's not leave it there. I think we should do this more regularly and bring back some of the wonderful brothers and sisters, humans you're working with,
That would be
that have come through your
amazing.
program. So let's keep this going.
Oh,
let's
my
keep this
goodness, that
momentum
would be
going.
so
But
special.
let's start
Thank you.
with Tommy and
Tommy
Delaney
and
if we can get there.
Delaney. All right.
If you can make that happen,
let me see what I can do.
and let's do it for the 10:30 spot so we can run overtime.
Okay. Oh, boy. Well, Drew will be here, so you'll be subject
Well,
to...
we may have to schedule when he's on vacation.
That's true. Yeah.
Sorry, Drew, but
That
it's true.
is so fun.
We appreciate
What
you
a
running a
lot.
tight ship.
Let's
And
please.
I'd love for Maribel, our staff member.
Yes.
That is
Yeah, let's
such
do,
a lovely person.
Let's do the same, because
Such
you and
an
Drew go
amazing
back
story.
such a long way.
We do.
Okay.
Yeah, he's such a
Newspapers
great
and
guy.
education. my connection
I
goes back
miss
to
it.
newspapers
I
and
miss it,
education. New
yeah.
York Times apparently started that program nationally.
Yep.
The UT followed the model. So we're all connected in some way
I
through
know.
all of these things. And then Paul and I happen to be able to share some terrain through Luna.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, listen, let's keep this momentum going.
And
Let's keep
We would
this
love
work
it.
going.
That's
in our
great.
next episode, we can get the reading origin story of associate producer Brandon. What do you think?
Yeah, we can definitely do it. Let's save
Let's
that
end
for the
on that
next one because
cliffhanger,
our associate producer and hey, Paul, I'm going to exit on this note too. It goes back to, again, let me end where we began. Let me talk to Luna right now.
Mm-hmm.
So Luna, when you were part of the program at SET for the Ready, Set, Soar Hour, the students ran everything. So I just want you to know that every single show we produce at Cloudcast, we have a student acting as an associate producer that produces the show. So Brandon Joe is the associate producer of Spotlight in the Community. And so Paul, Luna, we're doing this on every single show. We give a student an opportunity to produce media, to tell stories. And every single show, there's a student involved. And so, hey, on that note, what an incredible, incredible morning and an episode. Kristen.
Are you sure? We're only at 55 minutes. So I thought we were going to switch to a hot 127,
So welcome to
134.
So
And for those of you that have hung with us,
Yeah.
So for all of our listeners, thank you for
Thank you,
enjoying
listener.
a double episode of
Right.
Spotlight on the Community.
wait, is this going to be a series?
It might be, and I know Mission Fed would be. I always think about our partners and the brands we support. Mission Fed will be incredibly proud of this episode. So we did good. We used the time well. We
Yeah.
used our time and space well today together.
All joking aside, it's
joking
an amazing organization, and I'm glad that you
Really
both were
beautiful.
here.
Well,
Thank you
thanks
so
to
much.
both of
It
you
was
for
our
having
honor.
us.
A lot of fun, too.
It's fun to, you guys have an air of hospitality about you that is awesome, and,
Yeah.
we've benefited
Really
from it.
special.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. So thank you everyone for listening in. This has been Drew Schlosberg, Spotlight on the Community, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, produced by Cloudcast Media. And we've had a wonderful morning here with Paul Bowers and Betty Mohlenbrock from Reading Legacies. And you can find them at readinglegacies.org. Thank you for listening for Spotlight on the Community. We'll be back every week with more episodes. Thank you so much.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.